Uh, Good day, fellow rockers and moshers. Welcome to the Metal Connection, the connection to all things metal. I'm J-Dub, and along with me we got Clint Cthulhu.
What's up, guys?
And today we're going to be doing our little Mosh Jam series, basically our version of what's jamming, what we've been playing recently in the last week or whatever kind of thing recently. So yeah, we've kind of gathered what we've been jamming here recently, and I think I did kind of chat briefly with Clint before the show to ask how many albums he has to show, and I think he has like 20 or something, and I might have like 25. So maybe I'll just go first and kind of try to balance things out. And I'll show some vinyl to start off. Probably here's something that nobody's gonna know, but here's Atom Gods. Wow, this is just really anthemic uh, punk metal. It's weird when I actually go onto Discogs, they classify it as heavy metal slash speed metal, but that tag is totally wrong. There is no speed metal going on here. This is like anthemic punk rock. There might be some heavy metal here and there, like guitar solos and some guitar work and things like that to kind of go into metal, but this is more anthemic punk rock. This is really fun, cool stuff. Very unique. It almost sounds like UK like anthemic punk stuff, kind of like that. But anyway, and then I was jamming the first Santana from 1969. Really cool cover. I got cats, so I'm a cat guy, so that's kind of up my alley. Even though the music has nothing to do with cats, it's just really cool psychedelic old school rock. I'm sure you're familiar with Santana. And here's another one. This is really rad. This is like funk metal, funky funk metal, from like '91. And I know I've even said in the past, like funk metal isn't that good of a genre. It's not that great, but if a band can do it right, then it's really good. But the really cool thing about this is what caught my eye is anyone watching or you or whatever, you can go on YouTube and preview this, and the first thing that hits you is even though it is funk metal, there is a really awesome, thick, heavy guitar tone, like a very thick, heavy, badass guitar tone, and like all the songs are like upbeat kind of funk metal sort of thing. And actually, I sent a song to my Jody, a friend here. Well, he's a guest on the show a lot of times, Jody, and he was like, it sounds like a blend of everything, like a bit of punk, a bit of metal, a bit of punk, metal, funk, like a bit of everything going on here. So this is really cool, but really cool guitar tone here. I think that's what sold me on that album. And then yeah, I was actually, and then I'll get into a CD, and then we'll go to you first, and then we'll go to you back to you. But then I've been jamming a couple of Venom albums. I seem like I haven't played Venom in a couple months, so I pulled out At War with Satan, and yeah, great album. It is a little short, actually. The album itself is only 7 minutes, but it actually starts off with a 20-minute song, and usually I skip that 20-minute song. I don't, I have time for 20 minutes, but I don't necessarily want to just hear a 20-minute song all the time. But this time I just hit play on the 20-minute song, and it's actually a fucking great 20-minute song, oddly enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
gonna grab. I guess I'll grab first four. I guess first one is a band called My Ruin. They're kind of like they have a female front band. They're kind of like you can tell they were kind of early new metalish, kind of punky, kind of guitar tones, kind of got a little bit of classic rock, a little bit to it, but the vocals are, depending on the song, she clean sings and she screams, but it's kind of like before we got like OTEP, it kind of reminds me a little bit of that too.
yeah, I was gonna say I think that's a female-fronted band. I'm sure because I've
Yeah.
been I've been browsing whatever CDs on people's like selling lists, and I've seen not that cover, but I've seen the other cover that they have where I think it's just the band members on the front of the cover.
Oh, I was about to say I have this one too.
Oh, okay. And I think at some point in my life I would have kind of previewed them, like gave them a quick preview on YouTube, but I don't remember really what it sounds like. Would you say it's similar to New Year's Day?
No, it's a little heavier. It's like nah, more like kind of like a pre-OTEP, but it's kind of weird how to put them. You know, they're kind of different. They're different. I definitely check them out. They're kind of I don't know how to like some streams sound like OTEP. Like but then musically, like the tracks that I like a lot are like um Sick It to Me and Terror are both really good. Scars are really good. It's a good song. And they did a cover of Tainted Love. They look like they kind of remind me of like if you put like OTEP and Marilyn Manson in a blender.
Oh, cool.
Kind of that shock rock, kind of that gothic. Some songs have that kind of gothic vibe, like old 90s gothic.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'd be into more checking them out. I feel like when I seen the front cover of their one album, it was like might have been like it gave me the impression it might be like grungy new metal or something with like a punk touch or something, but that's just by looks.
Very obscure. Very kind of obscure. Second on my list is Tim Mold.
Oh
You
wow,
can see that.
I definitely can kind of tell what that might could possibly be like tech death.
No, they're not tech death. You'd think they would be. They're kind of more like doom death. They're really slow templed, just crushing, hitting hard, just really slow, kind of nasty gutturals, like but they're kind of a little more slower paced, like kind of like sludgy death metal.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's probably pretty cool. It's all right. And then the vocals are like death metal style.
Yeah, the vocals are like slow and heavy. And then next on my list is Vogelia.
Oh, Bergeria, yeah.
Yeah, Mexican death metal, grindcore, thrash. The Mexican version of what I like to call Sepultura, but Mexico.
They're like a blend of a lot of genres, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but this album in particular reminds me of Sepultura a lot.
Oh wow, that's funny the way you say Sepultura.
Oh,
But I knew what you were
I
talking about. I'm like, he must be talking about Sepultura. But you, for all I know, you could be saying it right, and I could be saying it wrong. I don't know. I say Sepultura, and I think you're saying it's like Sepultura or something.
part of it might be my little bit of yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, you're native to Texas, right? I'm Canadian, so we probably pronounce some things differently. So that's cool. But yeah, Bergeri had been around for a while. I know. Wasn't wasn't the Fear Factory guitarist in Bergeria or?
Yeah, Dino. Yeah, Dino's the lead guitar player for the band.
And he still is. I thought he just did the one album.
Far as I know, I think he's still with them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they've kind of released. I'd like to get their new EP that came out 2 years ago. It might be 3 years ago. I really want to get it. It's just expensive, but it only has like 3 tracks. But it's the EP that I can tell I'd relate with pretty well with it. It's called Anti-Trump, and it's all talking shit about Donald Trump, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't checked that band out for a long time. I know a long time ago, like 15 years ago, I checked out some of their albums, so it's been that long since I checked out anything they've done.
Yeah. If you want to do a couple of your CDs, I'm gonna get some more stuff ready.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, like I said, I think I do have a lot more than you, so I'll try to rip through more than you. And then, yeah, I was jamming some Sodom Code Red. And yeah, I was just picking up, just every once in a while. I'm like, oh, I haven't listened to Sodom in whatever, a couple weeks, a month. And I just try to rotate through all my Sodoms and realize I probably haven't played this one for a bit, and this is one of the better Sodom albums. It is straight up like extreme thrash. Like it's thrash, but it's on the extreme side of thrash. It's very heavy. And you're probably familiar with Sodom. I think well, we were talking, I think, on the previous show after the show, and you mentioned you had some Sodoms, I think 4 or something like that. But yeah, Code Red, I forget the year on this. I think, yeah, 1999. And yeah, this is full on. That's full on Sodom for you. Sodom's pretty consistent. As soon as you mention Sodom, you know what yourself getting yourself into. We got an 80s band, rest in peace, Mark Shelton, Manila Road. And yeah, Mark Shelton was the guitarist, singer, and Mark Shelton just has, he's kind of known for having this really unique guitar style. I'm not a guitarist, but I've heard that he does think like the way he picks and strums, he does things a lot differently and off tempo and differently than a lot of guitarists, so he's kind of known for that. But yeah, Manila Road's great. I got a few Manila Roads. I would like to get a lot more, but they're not exactly cheap or anything like that. But yeah, Open the Gates is cool. Kind of. Actually, I can't remember who or what, but someone was just mentioning. Maybe it was a video I was watching, a YouTube video of another collection update or something. But someone described it as epic metal, and yeah, I could agree with that. Like it's kind of powery epic metal sort of thing. Some of the songs can get long and epic, but not like. But that album is kind of there's more straightforward to the point. And yeah, actually, and it's realized I haven't played Ginger Cloud Factory in a long time, so I was due. I probably haven't heard this in a year, so I realized I was due for some Ginger Cloud Factory. Do you have Gingers?
Yes, I have that one, the EP before the newest album, and the one after that one. So I have most of their stuff, everything besides their first album.
Yeah,
And the new
Macro and Micro are great, and yeah, well, I'd like to say I'm a longtime Ginger fan, but I was started being a fan around 2015, but that's only 7 years. So to say that's a long time, 7 years, long time. But for a band that is new, I was fairly hip to them right away in 2015. And next up,
on their
uh,
first album, was it the different vocalist?
no, they even on that first album that they had, that's like super hard to get. That Inhale, Just Breathe.
Yeah.
Tasha was still on that. She was on that.
Okay.
It was just different band members. They had a bunch of lineup changes early on, which all kind of bands do until they kind of hunker down and get settled in. But yeah, Cloud Factory was the album after that one. But next up, we got a Canadian band, Monster Truck. Really cool, just fun hard rock band from Canada. I think they had some hits in the U.S. Actually, it's a great question because you are in the U.S. Have you ever heard of Monster Truck?
No, I have not.
Oh, yeah. So that could just be a Canadian thing, I guess. Oh, my nose is all messed up. But that could just be a Canadian thing. I don't know. But yeah, just really awesome, new modern hard rock, straightforward. There's no gimmicks or nothing. No atmosphere instrumentals. It's just straightforward, hard rock, radio rock, as we call it. It's like just kind of the way AC/DC was back in the 70s and 80s, just straightforward rock and roll. No frills, rock and roll. That's kind of what they are. And next up, actually, I just played this today, actually. First thing I played when I got home from work was Il Nino, Death to La Familia. And I know with something like a band with Il Nino, they just stick to like the first two or whatever and say, oh, I fell off the band. I don't pay attention to them anymore. But I'm telling you, this album is amazing. It's incredible. Yeah, I found this. If I were to do like an Il Nino ranking, it'd be actually one of my more favorite Il Nino rankings. I don't know if you ever kept up with Il Nino or whatever, but
I actually have all their CDs.
Oh, okay, yeah, no. Have you listened to this one recently or any time?
Not lately. It's been a couple of years since I've listened to El Nino. I've listened to like Christian, the singer's new band, since he's left the band. He has a new band called Lions at the Gate. And I'm actually That's actually why I kind of downloaded the Zune before you started inviting me on the videos and started doing videos. I was kind of nervous, so I never did it. But Christian, the singer of El Nino, was going to give me actually some clean vocal lessons.
I thought that's where you were heading when you mentioned him and mentioned the videos, because I know he tries to pick up gigs as
His solo stuff too.
well, yeah, I know he tries to pick up gigs as being like a vocal coach and like producing music and things like that. There's another guy that is on my friends list, and he got Christian to produce one of their albums, and well, the band split up, and they never released the album anyway, so I don't really know what happened to that. But yeah, no, I'm saying bust this album out. It's actually fucking awesome.
Yeah, he asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, yeah, we'll do it. I downloaded Zoom, but I kind of got nervous because I was like, intimidation because I've looked up to him for so long.
Yeah, I guess El Nino has kicked him out of the band and replaced him with someone else. And I checked out a song without him, and I'm like, I can't listen to El Nino without the main singer. Like that's the El Nino sound. So
Yeah,
so that's kind of disappointing that he's out of the band. But and then I'll do one more, and then it'll flow back to you. But it's an old school band from the '80s, but this is a newer release from 2018. We got Darknesses, First Class Violence, and this is full on just like modern thrash. You know, they're an old school '80s thrash band, so they have that old school authentic thrash sound. And I forget. I think they're German. Don't quote me on that. I think they're German, but this album's awesome. Neo primitive. Yeah, fucking that. This album's awesome. It's full on modern thrash. That's cool stuff.
Okay, when you were talking earlier, when you said Darkness, I was thinking of that weird band, The Darkness.
Oh, like the hard rock band.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, that band's so cringy.
Yeah. Well, actually, David Big Dog, there, he claims that the newest Darkness is really good.
Huh.
So yeah, I'll take his word for it. Maybe I'll check it out one day, but he says it's 10 out of 10.
Huh. Definitely strange. Another band I've listened to two of their albums. They're a band called Spoken. And they're kind of like, if you listen to them now, like on this album is their third album, they kind of changed their sound. They were kind of like more alternative, kind of in the vein of like 12 Stones, but then they add some like elements of like new metal, and and he screams some, so they're kind of they're pretty good, but but then you listen to their second album and their first album, it sounds like Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they were straight up new metal in their first couple of albums. And I didn't know. I was like, man, they sound completely different because he's just singing clear, soft, all in this. And then he screams some. I was like, it sounds like a completely different guy. And I was like, is it a different guy? I looked it up and I was like, no, he just got that crazy of a range.
Hey, yeah, a lot of that stuff can be like really catchy, and then once you listen to it one time or once or twice, that stuff's like can stay with you forever.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like the second Drowning Pool album after the singer passed away, and they had to replace him. And that second one is kind of like hard rock, new metal sort of thing. And a lot of people don't like that second Drowning Pool album. I love it. I like it.
Yeah. I just was surprised because if I heard this and I didn't know who they were, I would have thought it was Rage Against the Machine because he sounds exactly like him. Identical.
What year are those? Or
The second one came out in 1999, and their first album came out in 1996.
oh wow, actually, I didn't know. I expected it to be like I was expecting you to say like 2008 or something like that.
And then this album, their third album, came out in 2003.
Oh wow, that's cool. I kind of want to check that band out if they're like early wave of that style of music, right? Like early wave.
I think you would like the older stuff. The newer stuff you might like. It's just more alternative, and they've done some songs with Matty Mullins from like Memphis Mayfire, and but that song was actually like really more like kind of hard rock, and they're pretty diverse with their music, kind of new metal, alternative,
Yeah, I feel
and
like I've been playing a lot more like hard rock recently, and stuff I've been playing for a while. So yeah, I'm kind of in the mood for that kind of stuff lately, actually.
I'll send you a link to Spoken. They're pretty cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, cool. That'd be cool if you remember, or if I
Next
remember.
thing is OTEP, the Ascension. This is my personally favorite OTEP album because it has like Ghost Flowers, Eat the Children, Crooked Spoons, Milk of Regret, Noose and Nails,
That's
Invisible. I mean, this album to me just, really spoke. When it first came out, I was like, wow, I really related hardcore with this album. And this one has always held a special place in my heart.
that's
Even
actually
though she can be a cunt.
that's actually a good album. I don't own it, but that's actually a good album. Yeah, I got three OTEPs. That actually is a good album. She has one that sucked. Like I rarely say this. Actually, I think I try to tell people I rarely say that albums suck or I don't like them. I try not to be negative about bands I like. But she has one album that's House of Secrets. That is a skipper. That's a bad like the album. She has an album called The House of Secrets. That's a bad album. It's like it's all very slow, spoken word, slow song, spoken word, slow song, one banger, slow song. It's a pretty bad album. I thought I wouldn't buy it, but that Ascension's good. And then yeah, I got some old tips here. I was just able to pull up. This Toe Tap's awesome, Activist, and then I also really thought Generation Doom was awesome. If
If
you can
you
ever,
want to play a few more,
I was gonna say yeah, if you can ever find Generation Doom cheap, get it. I thought it was
I
really good.
got it.
Oh, you have
I
it?
got
Yeah,
it the week it came out.
yeah, that's good. I like that one. But then her newest one, Cult 45, was okay. It was okay. I don't know if I bought. Yeah, I maybe would if it came out cheap. But I'll rip through some here. I can't. I probably played this. I think 4 days ago, something like that. 3 4 days ago, something like that. But busted out some really crusty first Immortal here, crusty and black metal here. Just totally raw black metal. Immortal's first album here, and it's winter in Canada, so as soon as I look outside, it's cold. I see snow. I'm in the mood for Immortal. So we just played that.
The
That was
one
good.
immortal I'm missing.
That's the one you're missing.
I believe so. Is that Holocaust?
No, that's diabolical full moon mysticism.
Oh, then I have that one. It's what is it? Something Holocaust is the one I'm
Pure
missing.
Holocaust. Yeah, pure
Yeah.
Holocaust. Pure Holocaust is awesome too. Well, for me, I think Immortal with Abbott was fully consistent, except for that one winter. What the hell was that one? Battles in the North. Battles in the North is like a little. There's some charm to it because the production's so awful, but there's some charm to it for that factor. But yeah, and then when I was looking through my rock section, and I was just looking for stuff I haven't played for a while, and I haven't played Queens of the Stone Age for a while, quite a while, and I pulled out Villains album. I think to this date, this is the newest Queens of the Stone Age album. Even though it's going back to 2017, so I don't think he's putting anything out. He hasn't put anything out for 4 years now. But anyway, nonetheless, on this Villain album is really cool. It had some hit songs like The Way You Used to Do, and it's just got this really cool throwback swing rock vibe, like swing hard rock. So it's really unique. Nothing else really sounds like that. He doesn't copy anyone. He's just doing his own thing, his unique stuff. And then I always like that kind of stuff when somebody's just doing his own thing, creating his own genre, creating his own sound, and he's creating his own sound on this, basically. Like, nothing else really sounds like that, and that's just a really fucking rad cover. Actually, I'll zoom in and maybe even use that for the cover photo for this show. I always love that cover because when you pull the slip cover off, it's not that. It's something else. So I'm glad that whoever I did get this used off did give me the slip cover because that's really cool. I don't know if you ever got into Queens of Stone Age.
I've got a few of their albums. I mean, I need to listen to them more, but it took me a while to get into them.
Well, actually, I will admit that, me too. I think when I first heard it, I'm like, oh, there's nothing special here. What's so good about this? But I think I just eventually did give it another chance, and all of a sudden came around. That is one of those bands that might take a while for someone to come around. It may not hit you right away, and then you'll be like, no, I don't like it. But I'm such a music lover. Well, you are too. You know, we're both of us music lovers. That I gave it another chance, maybe repeatedly, like not that album specifically, but I gave them repeated chances, and then all of a sudden it caught on with me someday. So sometimes that's what it's like for bands. It's very rare that I will go back to it numerous times, but it was one of those bands like where Queens of Stone Age is so popular that I'm like, I want to hear what everyone else is hearing. Like, you ever have that feeling like when a band is popular, you want to know, well, why are they popular? What is everyone else hearing that I'm missing?
Yep. My bad. Yeah.
I'll show my next album, but I was going to pose a question with you. Do you have any? Could you think off the top of your head of a band that you didn't like at first, but then you kind of gave them a couple more chances, and then you did become a fan?
I have one band I can think of on the top of my head, or I can think. I know a lot of people give this band a lot of flack because of their image at first, but I was like, man, this band's trash. I talk shit about them, and then whenever I actually heard a song, I was like, holy shit, this band, why do they get so much hate? Is Black Veil Brides.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, yeah. Even for me, I know they were super popular. I think I forced myself to check them out because I thought I was going to see them opening. I thought I was going to see them within this moment. Actually, it was within this moment, and then COVID shut that whole tour down before it happened. But so I started listening to them in not in hopes, but in thinking that I was going to see them live. So I just wanted to be familiar with some of their songs, and yeah, they do have a bunch of catchy stuff.
And I mean, if you think about it, I mean, like a lot of people call them emo, or then I've heard like older people are like, they're like a wannabe Motley Crue, but they don't sound anything like that. They're more alternative hard rock to me.
Yeah, and then the singer's got a decent voice in some songs and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he actually has a pretty good voice, personally, but I mean, I kind of get a little bit of repetition within. He kind of writes about hope all the time, but I mean, and they're kind of more positive.
Yeah. Like I said, they have a lot of the catchy stuff. Like I was almost like not forcing myself, but I was trying to listen to a bunch of it to become familiar with it because I was like, I kind of want to become a fan because I'm going to see them live. I don't want to just like not be interested in it. And yeah, it was okay. I don't know if I'd ever buy one of their albums. Maybe I would if it came up for a couple bucks. Kind of like what you do when things come up for a couple bucks. But the next up is someone. Someone on a Facebook group or meant something. Just did a post or said something about suicidal tendencies, and I was like, hey, I feel like listening to Suicide Tendencies. So that day or the next day, I pulled out a Suicidal Tendencies album and jammed a ST album, and oh man, I still can't get that out of my head. The song number 3, Pledge Your Allegiance, they just got that gang chant, ST, ST, and then they say something else, and then ST. It's just like a banger. That I could probably play that song over and over. It's so rad. Yeah, fucking cool album. I'm sure anyone watching is probably kind of familiar with that. If you're not, just really fun stuff. I will do one more and throw it back because I do think I have more albums than you. This is interesting. I always thought this band was gonna blow up because when I heard them, they just had such a epic sound, but like not epic like boring, but like It was heavy. The guitar tone's awesome. It's not like groove metal. It's not thrash metal. It's a bit doomy. It's a bit like that. But I always thought this band was gonna blow up, and they never did. It's a band called Venomous Maximus,
Interesting.
and like all it takes is for someone to hear one song off this album, and you'll just get an idea of why I thought they were gonna blow up with the metal community. Not like worldwide big. I just mean like with the metal community, because their sound is so like big, and the guitar tone is awesome and kind of like doomy, heavy, like a mix of all those kind of things. But like they just have this big grandiose sound about them. I thought they were gonna blow up because this stuff is just I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but I don't know the word I'm looking for. It's just like not addicting, but like there's something about it where I just thought it was gonna become a lot bigger than it never did be. But yeah, this album is incredible, from 2012, I believe. It doesn't say on the back. It doesn't say anywhere. No, it doesn't say anywhere. It's like 2012, 2014. But this album is fucking amazing. The album's called Beg Upon the Light. If anyone's watching this, if there's one album out of my whole stack that you do check out, I'm telling you, check this out. Like, oh man, it's just such a big, grandiose metal sound. Like, not cheesy. Like, we're talking the true metal sort of thing. But I always thought they were going to blow up, and they never did. It was kind of a little disappointing. But anyway, I don't care. It's fucking music that I can love.
Definitely gonna have to check them out.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's hard to resist. Like for me, I don't know. Again, maybe it's just my ear. I'm hearing something that other people aren't. But like, I don't know. Just as soon as I heard that stuff when I first discovered the band, I'm like, oh my god, this is freaking amazing. But yeah.
Is the vocals heavy, or what are the vocals like?
Oh, the vocals they almost take a back seat to the actual music. They almost have like a like, say if he was like singing from like the depths of doom, sort of. But like I don't want to like just put it in the doom genre, because their sound is so thick and heavy. Like the guitar, like the riffs, I know the riffs are insane. Like the guy that was writing these riffs is like almost like Tony Iommi, where this guy has a million riffs in his palm, and he just can get them out in a way where they're so catchy. Like as soon as you hear one of their riffs, you're hook, line, and sinker. Like it's just one of those guys that knew how to write a riff, where as soon as you hear it, it's in your head and you're just like into it. Anyway, if that's one band, I'd say that's the one that I would force people to check out, just because I thought they were going to be big. But anyway.
All right, we were on another discussion, talking about albums that are 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
We had that discussion. So I went back and listened to an album that I haven't listened to in a while, and I forgot how much I love this album. Is Machine Head's Bloodstone and Diamonds. Incredible album.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if people, I would recommend this. I mean, it's a great album lyrically too. It's just a beautiful album from beginning to end, I think. I mean, like right whenever the Blackening came out, then the Swarm of the Locust EP, and that album, just to me, all three of them were just phenomenal. Like I don't understand the hate some of these get. I'm like, man, they're just all three bangers to me.
Yeah, Bloodstone and Diamonds is good. I actually haven't played that for a while, and I think the next time I do pull out a Machine Head, or probably just even after we finish the show, I think I'm going to add that to my play pile, because when we did that 10 out of 10s, I had Machine Head Blackening on my list. So I just listened to the Blackening recently. And yeah, I kind of feel like playing another Machine Head recently. And I think I'll probably play that one. I haven't played that one for a while. That's cool you have that Digipack one. I'm trying to see if I can reach and grab my Machine Heads. No, I don't. But anyway, I just have the regular jewel case version. It's cool you got that Digipack one, or well, the
Yeah,
media book one actually.
I mean the artwork on this is really cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember some songs off that, but yeah, I feel like playing that one.
Like some of my favorite ones are like "Now We Die," "Killers and Kings," "The Ghost Will Haunt My Bones,"
Killers and Kings.
"Long Night, Long Night," "Sail into the Black." You know, breathe, breathe the slit. In comes the flood. Damage inside. All of it's just incredible.
I'd say the one that stood out for me was definitely I know off the top of my head is that Killers and Kings song. That song's great.
I love "Sail into the Black" because it has that, you know, that kind of like, um,
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, no, I feel like playing that one recently. I'm gonna play that one probably in the next couple days.
and another thing, I just got this recently, Cavalier Conspiracy. Um, it's I guess this is their debut album. I believe so, right?
Yeah.
And it reminds me of like old school trashy death metal. It's really good. And it has some like new metal a little bit too. But it's everything Max has done and kind of puts it in a blender and really did good on this album, I think is really great.
Yeah, and if people,
Listening
I
to that,
was gonna say yeah, and if people aren't familiar, that's the Cavalier brothers. That's Max and Igor. Igor's on drums. And are you familiar with that album before you bought it?
yeah, like I mean I had their third and fourth album, but I had just the CD, the disc of the third album because like I bought a Sepultura or a Soulfly album. I can't remember which one it was. I bought like one of them used at like a used CD place, and that third Cavalier Conspiracy CD happened to be in the case too.
Oh, cool, bonus.
Yeah. So when I bought this, I paid 22 and I got the first one, the second one, and the third one as a bundle.
That album is actually like there's something special about it that could never be replicated. Like it's one of those albums that I don't know what was going on with this in the studio with the way they were making songs, but just something about it. They touched on something special where it could never be replicated ever again. Also, what's really cool is Joe Duplanter, from the singer from Gojira. He plays bass on that album and he does backup vocals, and that also gives it another unique thing that's going on there because his backup vocals are just rad on that album.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was listening to it right before we had this video, right before.
yeah, that shit's awesome. That's full on metal. Like if any of the old school guys are watching that saying, "Oh, what's that shit?" No, that is straight metal. That's no fucking around right there.
Yeah, I have 7 left. How many do you have?
Yeah, I got more than you, so I'll rip through 5 or 6. I was trying to think of how to describe this band, but I think it's kind of like Nuclear Assault. If you're into Nuclear Assault, you'd probably be into Evil Dead. This is Evil Dead's first album, I believe, 1989. I
Kind
have
of
a
like speed metal, power metal. Yeah.
yeah, no power. It's just like a crossover speed. I'd say like a crossover speed metal with some fun factor. Like you can honestly tell what there's the cover. They don't take themselves too seriously. Much like kind of Nuclear Assault kind of had that fun crossover vibe about them. It's thrash. It's definitely crossover thrash. But again, they don't take themselves too seriously, right? A lot of the songs are like kind of like goofier kind of stuff. Future Shock. Well, there's a cover obviously Gone Shooting right there, but then Holy Trials and Parasite. Well, you can kind of just tell by the cover. You know, they don't take themselves too serious. It's going to be super fun crossover thrash sort of stuff. The vocalist speaks really fast, kind of like Nuclear Assault. So I'd say if you like Nuclear Assault, you probably already know of Evil Dead, or you know, not you, but I mean people watching sort of thing. But yeah, cool stuff. You know, almost looks like a Toxic Wasteland sort of thing. So you kind of know what you get yourself into with that. And I really love the band Gravedigger, and I don't know. I've been ever since I kind of got into Gravedigger. I've been trying to think of what is my favorite Gravedigger, and I think this is my top three Gravediggers, probably I'd say. And for you, it would just be a nightmare getting into Gravedigger because when they're one of those bands that have like 14, 15 studio albums. So when you do get into a band,
I got two.
oh, you have two. Oh, that's cool. I was gonna say because like it's so difficult when you get into it when you just get into a band that you discover and they have such a large discography. It's just like so overwhelming to like where do I start. But anyway, yeah, it's like where do you if someone's not a fan, it's like where do I start? They have fucking 15 albums. Where the hell do I start? But I don't know. I just really love the Clans Will Rise Again. I think it's 2004, no 2010. Sorry. And yeah, it has some really cool bagpipe stuff going on there, like Celtic bagpipe stuff going on in this specific album. And this is really awesome. It is one of my more standout Gravedigger albums, and I try not to play it very often because I don't want to ever get like when you have like when you like pick and choose your favorite albums, you're gonna tend to play them more often, right? But I'm kind of weird in the sense that when I do find my favorite albums, I try not to overplay them to death because I don't want to become sick of it. I don't know if you
Yeah,
ever have that. Like,
not really, not really.
cause like, I'd love to play this every 2 weeks, but if I were to play that every 2 weeks, eventually I'd get sick of it and then I wouldn't want to play it for a very long time. So, rather than doing that, I'd like to just like, okay, maybe I'll just play it once every 3 or 4 months. But then when I do play it or listen to it, I really want to listen to it as opposed to just being, oh, I just played it 3 weeks ago. Even though it's my favorite album, I don't want to become numb to it.
Okay,
If that makes sense. So that's kind of that. I'm kind of like, yeah, even though I do have my favorites, I try to rotate everything evenly. Even though I'm gonna have my favorites, but next up, I actually recently just got this. I don't even think I've shown this on a video yet. No, it's so fresh for me. But yeah, no, this is the newest Havoc album, number V. I think they're calling this, yeah, V, Havoc V. And I kind of just a local Canadian seller was selling this for $12.50 plus $3.50 shipping, so it was about $15-16. And I just realized I'm never gonna get this cheaper than $15, so I might as well just fucking get it now because if I don't get it now, I'm gonna be end up paying a lot more later. And I pulled out this did come with a patch. It was like the European one that came with a patch, but the patch I just have the patch sitting up there, but yeah, it came with a patch, and I'm sure you're probably familiar with Havoc.
yeah, and that's kind of cool that it still had the patch being used.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, whoever had it just left the patch inside, and um, when I get back going, when concerts get back into swing of things, I'll probably sew it onto one of my jackets or something like that. Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna leave it in there because I don't ever plan on selling it. It's funny, actually. Sorry.
I said I definitely need to get more Havoc. I think I have like 2 of their CDs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then that's another thing with me is I was collecting a bunch of Havocs and I realized, well, I'm gonna have to get this regardless. And yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna find it cheaper than $15 because that's kind of like the standard for the decent newer CD sort of thing or whatever. So I realized I either get it now or pay more later, sort of thing. So I got it now, and I'm happy about that actually. And yeah, I have every Havoc except for the first one. So I just need that first Burn album, and then I have every Havoc, even though they only do have 5. I have seen them live. They were on a Megadeth tour in 2016. What the hell was that? That was Havoc. I don't even remember. Oh, I think it was Havoc, Children of Bottom, Megadeth, and I can't remember if there's and Suicidal Tendencies. That's what it was. I remember the whole bill. It was Havoc, Children of Bottom, Suicidal Tendencies, and Megadeth. Great show.
Wow.
Yeah, cool shit.
My neck would be sore after that one.
Yeah. Well, actually, for Megadeth, there was no mosh pit because people crowd so much for the Megadeth that there was as far as I know, there wasn't really a mosh pit for Megadeth. Again, a lot of the older guys come out for Megadeth, and the older crowd, like the older guys that are 40, 50, they don't really mosh. So they kind of ruin that whole mosh thing for Megadeth. It's the same same thing with Metallica. You go see Metallica, and there's not really a mosh pit anymore for Metallica because all the old guys come up and they don't really get involved in that kind of stuff. They kind of shut it down. They're hugging their girlfriend. Hey, you touch my girlfriend, fucking fight you. So it's just really, really stupid. Those kind of guys. But and then we got the second Possessed album. Possessed. I know if I were to show that first album, the Seven Churches, everyone's familiar with Possessed Seven Churches, but I'll be honest, I don't really. It's going to be sacrilege to even say this publicly, but that Possessed Seven Churches, I don't really care for that Seven Churches album. I just don't really care for it. But the second one, they turned much more thrash, like death thrash, and I'm much more into this. Even though I like death metal, I just didn't really think that Seven Churches is that great. But anyway, it's sacrilege to say that, I know. But anyway, second Possessed album, kind of more of a death thrash. Great cover. I think this is 86. Yeah, I'm right on that. It was 86. Because I think Seven Churches is in 85, and then next year they came out with that. But I don't know if you're familiar with Possessed. You have 7. Maybe I'll show one more, and then we'll cut to you. I'm a big Danzig fan. Danzig Misfits. Well, I'm actually wearing a Danzig shirt right now, so it's kind of quite a coincidence. I'm going to bring this up, even though I'm not actually going to talk about Danzig, but his guitarist, so to speak, back in the day was Doyle. So we got that Doyle has 2 solo albums. So this is Doyle's second solo album, and you can see Doyle 2 right there. So Doyle 2, and this is really just fun horror metal, I guess we call it. All the songs are kind of related to horror and fun horror. And Doyle's not the greatest guitarist overall. He's not doing solos and things like that. But it's just really fun, catchy horror metal sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a little funky.
Yeah, I don't know if have you ever checked out these Doyle solo albums?
Yeah, I've heard the first one, and I'm officially jealous of Doyle because he ain't a good-looking dude, and he's old. He's kind of old, but he got a hot ass girl.
Right. Yeah, I guess he's going out.
You know who Doyle's girl is?
Yeah, I guess he's going out with Alyssa from Arch Enemy.
Which is a weird mix, I think. And now he's turned vegan.
I was gonna say you think so, but I think Doyle's been vegan for a while, and then Alyssa's probably vegan, so that's probably how they connected. And I'm sure she doesn't mind the eye candy as well. So, and I'm sure he doesn't mind the eye candy as well. So, I think that's a good fit. As far as I know, they're still together. So, they've been together for quite a while now, 5, 6 years. So, I think that's a cool little fit. I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, we'll go back to you, I guess. I think I caught up to you now.
All right, we'll go with this band is very unique. This is one of the most unique bands I've heard in a long time. It's sad they didn't last long. I think they had only 3 albums, and then they called it, they broke up. Is a band called The Defile. I mean, there's a death metal band called Defiled, but this is band's called the Defiled, and it's kind of like if you put Meshuggah and Motionless in White in a blender.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I like
Yeah.
both. I like both those. I own both those bands, so
So definitely check out this band. They're definitely different. But if you look at them, if you saw just what they look like, they have kind of like a horror punk kind of aesthetic, kind of like, they look like, horror punk or emo, maybe like the old school, like gothic, all black makeup kind of emo look. But the music definitely is not emo. It's horror kind of based, murder, like they sing like about Jack the Ripper, stuff like that. But the music, if you saw them and looked at them, they don't look like what they play. It's like the music is like Meshuggah, the vocals are like Meshuggah, but his clean vocals are like Motionless in White.
do you think maybe like someone like Discogs or something? Do they classify that as like metalcore, deathcore, or?
I have no clue, but you can kind of see they kind of look like they could be like post-hardcore emo kind of look.
But some of it, I bet they probably even had some like melodic death metal influences. Probably almost
Not
looks
really. I guess they are metalcore, but musically, like it's kind of chuggy. Some songs are really, really death metal-y too, the riffs. But I guess they would be considered metalcore, but they're heavier than your typical metalcore band.
yeah. I
Yes.
think again I could be getting confused because you say there's Defiled and the Defiled. So I know I have came across a Defiled name, and I know they are like heavy.
Yeah, because there was the Defile, that's a Japanese death metal band. That's like old school death metal.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I think I've kind of briefly heard the Defiled, but I couldn't remember what it would be like.
Yeah, like Blood Cells is a really cool song. Black Death, talking about like, you know, the plague. Um the ill disposed is pretty cool. Your Name and Final Sleep is a really cool song. They sing about like murder, like you can tell, like, and if you watch their music videos, they've definitely watched a lot of murder mysteries, it looks like.
Oh, cool.
They kind of go on a softer side a little bit. Another band I've listened to lately, 18 Visions. They're old school metalcore, but this album in particular is more alternative. It's kind of like, the singer left and started Burn Halos, and it kind of has that kind of, grungy metal or grungy post hardcore kind of sound.
Really?
That album, it's really good though. Like lyrically, it's incredible. Um,
I always
you
thought they.
know,
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to go on to the. I thought you were going to go on to the next CD. And I was like, oh, I wanted to chime in for something, but I was going to say, I always thought like early on, they were like in that like unearth realm, like kind of like bit on the screamo side, like scream core sort of thing.
yeah. I mean, yeah, they did have that sound, with their first couple of albums, and they still, in their newest album, they did go with that sound again, with their album after that. But it was like several years later, and that is their kind of sound more. They were early metalcore, even before like, Unearth.
Yeah.
They've been around since like the 90s.
Mhm. What year is
So
that album?
this one came out in 2000 2006.
Oh, cool.
And that was after that album they went on hiatus for a good like 10 years.
Something like that. I'd be curious just to like hear a preview, just to see what they did turn into.
A good song that I would recommend is the second track on this album is called Victim.
Yeah, that's definitely like a curiosity thing for me. Like if I were to come across it on YouTube or something, I'd click on it just for the curiosity factor. Like, ooh, I wonder what they sound like, you know?
And if you look on the out, like too, um, shit, they kind of sound like his clean vocals a little bit sound like the guy from Stone Temple Pilots a little bit too.
Oh, oh, weird.
Yeah, you
I
can
wouldn't.
tell by his look too.
Yeah, see, that's interesting. To where, like, say, if I were to click on that and I did hear something like that, I wouldn't really expect it because for me in my head, I had them as a screamo band. So if I heard anything other than kind of screamo-y core, for me, it would be like unexpected.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I mean, I really like it a lot. A lot of people hated on it because it ain't their typical normal sound, but just I liked it because it was the album that got me into them. I didn't know who they were before this album, and for the longest time, until a friend showed me, I thought it was their only album. Until one of my friends was like, "Dude, I was talking about them one day," and then he was like, "Dude, you didn't know this is them?" And he showed me them. I was like, "Bullshit, that's a different band." And he's like, "No, this is their early stuff." I was like, "What?" And then when I saw them live, they played really. They didn't play anything off of this album because a lot of people don't like it. They played their heaviest stuff live. I was like just blown away. And you know me, I always talk about this band. I went back. I just recently got the reissued of Clayman by In Flames. So I jammed that, to listen to the differences. And then they have like one new track on it. That's an instrumental. That's actually kind of cool. Definitely different sounding for them.
Let's. Oh, sorry, to cut you off there. You're gonna say something?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that's an interesting topic on its all on its own. For me, it's interesting because I'm in the In Flames uh, whatever Facebook group, right? You call it probably the biggest In Flames group. And when that album dropped, there was so much discussion about it, where people were, since it's a new album sort of thing, not new, but new for them. So it was quite the hot topic for a while when it got released on the Facebook group, and it's quite controversial to re-record such a fan favorite album, and I just heard so much mixed reviews on it. I heard some people liked it. I heard a lot of people didn't like it, and I typically do not like re-records. I want the original thing. I don't see it like I know why bands are re-recording it just for like financial reasons because the old label owns the music, and then if they re-record it, they can upload all the re-recorded ones to Spotify and YouTube, and then they get the money back. So I understand why a lot of bands are doing it, but in this particular reason, I'm not really sure why they re-recorded it. I've never heard it, and I don't know if I have much of an interest in hearing the re-recorded versions.
What I'm gonna say on the re-recorded versions, there is 4 tracks that are only re-recorded. The rest of it is the original album. Then they have like bonus tracks that are the re-recorded album songs, and then they have that one new instrumental.
Oh, that's weird because I thought the whole album was re-recorded.
I did too until I got it in the mail and I looked at the back and I was, yeah, it's only 4 tracks.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. That's kind of a misconception because, like, deadly honest. Like from what I heard that the whole album itself was re-recorded. So I think there's a
Yeah,
huge conception going on.
it's kind of hard to see.
So it's just
Yeah,
like,
I know it confused me too, but like I wanted to get just to kind of hear the differences. So I was curious. I got it in the digipack of my favorite album of all time, Come Clarity. I can't have enough, of that album. So whenever I won both for like $5.50, I was like, screw it. We'll see what's about. And then by my surprise, it was only 4 re-recorded songs. I think it was the anniversary of the album, and they wanted to
yeah.
do something special.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think that's a huge misconception that was even going around on the In Flames thing, where yeah, I was under the impression that the whole album was re-recorded, but that's kind of interesting that you clear that up, or that you clear that up for me, because I was that's a total misconception for me.
Definitely need to look into that in Flames group if I'm not already a member.
Yeah, yeah, I'm surprised you're not, but yeah, no, it was just a controversial topic that everyone was talking about when it came out, and I just had mixed. I always have mixed feelings on these re-records, and I I just don't have much interest in even checking them out. So that's something never did check out these re-records, even though now you're clearing it up. It's only just the 4 songs, so.
Yeah. I have 4 left. If you want to put out a few now.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I think actually I have 2, 4, 7. I think I have 7 or something. So I'll get caught up to you. Okay, cool. Next up, we got another old school German thrash band, Destruction. Destruction's Under Attack. I forget the year on this. 2016. Yeah, this is 2016. So I think it's their second to last album that they put out. I have the newest one, the Born to Perish, I believe. Yeah, Born to Perish. But yeah, obviously Destruction, you know what you're getting yourself into. Just that kind of very consistent thrash metal, very fast, up-tempo thrash. And yeah, I'm not going to go on about that. Obviously, that's their Destruction. And I don't even know why I pulled out a Motorhead, but I pulled out a Motorhead and recently listened to The World Is Yours. I think I probably try to listen to some more newer Motorhead, because people kind of shit on the newer Motorheads. Like I really love, what the hell's the album? Aftershock. I really love Aftershock. I think Aftershock's 2015, and I really love Aftershock, and then I really like this one too. So I think I pulled out both. I think I pulled out both of them to listen to them recently. But yeah,
And
listen
that's
to.
another band that it's hard to get, where to start, with their music. They have like 22 CDs.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that is one of those bands. Like, I guess if you hadn't been a band since the '80s, we were just born in the '80s. But yeah, for me, at some point, I did have to just say, well, I got to start somewhere, and I just started somewhere with Motorhead, and caught on with me at some point. But yeah, I knew her. This is 2010. And for me, I dig it. I dig it. I don't have a problem with it. If I had a problem with it, I wouldn't own it. I'll tell you that, because
Yeah, I need to go back and listen to them more. Like, you were talking about earlier, one of those bands that it takes, we were talking about bands that take a while to get into. For me, Motorhead was one of them.
I'd say when I was younger, I was a little more fussier with, like, and I was like, oh, I don't like his vocals. Like, it was the vocals that turned me off. But
Yeah.
like, that was when I was younger, and then you listen to so much. Me, I just started listening to so much shit. I just became less fussy. I was like, oh, I don't really care about vocals. Sure, the music's great. I can get over that. So it was just one of those things. I just got over the awful vocals, because even now, I don't know if it's sacrilege to say, but he doesn't have the greatest vocals. It's like very gruffy. It's hard to understand. You don't know what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's terrible vocals in general, but I don't know. You just get over it. I don't care. The music's good. And then eventually, okay, it's fine. You can start hearing what he's saying and whatever. But
and the weird thing is, I heard somebody showed me like an acoustic version of one of their songs, and like he did like 100% like clean vocals, and I was like, man, where has this been the whole time? It's great. I was like, what?
he has like a weird kind of like like a southern country type soft voice. Like he does have some softer. He does have a few soft songs on some of those mid '90s albums and things like 1916.
Yeah.
Got some slower songs and things like that, but yeah, they're okay. And next up, I've had this in my play pile for a while, and then it all of a sudden just hit me. I kind of feel like, again, sometimes I'll pick like 10, 20 albums and stick it beside my computer for my play pile, and you're obviously not going to play 20, 30 albums every day. So, 2 or 3 days might go by, and then that same album is still sitting in your play pile, and then you don't feel like listening to it anymore by the time the 3 day passes. And the next thing you know, it's this album's been sitting in your play pile for 2 weeks, but eventually I felt like playing it. Anyway, so it's Hatebreed's Divinity of Purpose, a fairly newer Hatebreed, 2013, and yeah, great Hatebreed. Again, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't own it, even though I'm a fairly big Hatebreed fan. And Hatebreed's consistent, just like a lot of bands I was showing. Like Destruction's consistent, Creator's is consistent. I didn't show Creator, but Stardom is consistent. Just like Hatebreed's consistent. You know what you're getting yourself into. Yeah, again, it was just straightforward. No frills, no fucking around, just full on, all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what you're getting yourself into with Hatebreed. You probably own a bunch of Hatebreeds, I'll assume.
Yeah, I own everything besides the newest album.
Yeah, me too. When the newest album when the newest one came out, I was like, it's okay, but again, Hatebreed's one of those bands where you do kind of have to play the albums a couple times because a lot of songs sound the same. So it's just a matter of like knowing the choruses to distinguish each song. And then once you are able to know the chorus, you can distinguish the song, sort of thing. But yeah, this album's a banger. Actually, I probably know so much of these songs off by heart. I could probably pick out a bunch I like. But yeah, Dead Man Breathing, that song's awesome. Before the Fight Ends You, that song's awesome too. So I'll try not to get too much in it, but those songs are really cool. Dead Man Breathing, Before the Fight Ends You. And another consistent band, Overkill. We got Overkill, Immortalis, and I love my Overkill. Actually, I love a lot of the middle era Overkills. Obviously, the early Overkills are awesome, but I also love a lot of the middle era Overkill, starting with like Killing Kind. You got Relics, you got Necroshine, you got Immortalis. So I find myself really loving those middle pack Overkills. And yeah, this one's 2007, so I really love all the ones in between 1996 and 2007. A lot of those ones, and I know I listened to Relics recently, and I've already put that away. And then I listened to Immortalis after that one because it is one of my more favorite ones. And actually, and I do know is Randy from Lamb of God's on one of the songs here. I think it's number 2 or number 3, What It Takes or Skull and Bones. So Randy from Lamb of God's on here, and yeah, and it's Randy right away. As soon as he starts his scream, his scream, it's Randy. So he puts his touch on the song for sure. And actually, uh, they have such uh, vast different vocal styles that when they sing kind of together on the same song, it works really well because they have such different voices that it's such polarizing different voices that when they do sing on the song together, it's actually really unique and cool. It is a standout track on the album for sure, but I love this whole album. It's great. Yeah, we got Charlie, Get Your Gun. That song is cool. Hellish Pride, Skull and Bones, and then the one with and there's even a song called Overkill 5. Every couple albums they just name one of their songs Overkill, Overkill 1, Overkill 2, Overkill 3. So they're up to Overkill 5 on this album, and you'd think it'd be like a shitty song, but no, it's great too. And I got 3 left, so we'll go back to you.
I have no clue how you pronounce this band's name. The Martin. I've heard it all kinds of different.
Demericus, yeah.
Yeah, Demericus. They're like death metal with like thrash. They're thrashy death, and they're really cool. They're definitely a little bit. They're about to release their 3rd album after a long hiatus. They only released 2 albums, then they went on hiatus, and they're finally going to release their 3rd album, I believe, this year. They've released 1 single so far, and it sounds like it should have been like immediately after. It's really good. Like some of the songs on this album I'd recommend are like Beyond Obscene, Perfection and the Infection, Eaten Up, Cheat the Ladder, The Serve is to Destroy, I Am Weapon, and Hellraisers are all great tracks.
Yeah, I have the two Demiricus albums actually. As yeah, I bought them when they first came out. I thought they were going to be I thought they were going to be a band that stuck around for a while, and I ended up just becoming a fan of them. And if anybody is watching and wondering what they sound like, it's kind of just like a Slayer. I'd say they are heavily influenced by Slayer, right? There's a lot of Slayer type sounding riffs,
The
and
vocals death metal though.
I can't remember what the vocals sound like. I
I'd
don't.
say
I
more
don't.
guttural.
I don't remember the vocals sounding death metal-y. I thought they were more hardcore, like maybe not like yeah, maybe more like a hardcore thing. I don't remember what they sound like. Maybe it is like more of a hard like I forget the band like Vital Remains, not Vital Remains, Skeletal Remains. Kind of
I
like
mean, that's
vocal.
good. Yeah, that's kind of a good thing. They're like death thrashy, is what I would say.
Yeah, I'd say it's like yeah, like some Slayer influenced kind of thrashy stuff. Definitely been a while since I played that.
Yeah, I got the two albums not too awfully long ago. I paid like $4 for the two of them, and it's
Yeah,
like I heard them years back. I had like a Metal Blade composition that had like songs from like all kinds of different bands from like Metal Blade Records, and that was one of the bands. And his kind of vocals reminded me live of Randy from Lamb of God a little bit. You
that's
know,
it. That's interesting that they have a new album coming out and they've released a singles like songs off for it already.
yeah. Go back and listen to it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's definitely something I'm kind of interested in. Like I said, I do own those two Demiricus albums, and to think that they are coming back, and I'm definitely curious to find you. I think if they stuck true to their sound, I probably can already imagine what it sounds like.
All right, another band. This band, they've kind of like now, if you think, oh, and they sound kind of southern rocky, but now their first album, I'd say is like kind of a punk, post hardcore, a little bit of death metal, a little bit of kind of like southern rock. They're really weird on their first album. Is a band called He Is Legend. Their first album or their first couple of albums are really out there. Like, 1 minute he's kind of singing real kind of twangy, kind of raspy singing. Next minute he's doing like a screamo scream. Then the next minute he's doing a blood curdling growl. I was like, wow, I didn't know this band had anything that sounded like that. Till like I kind of ordered these albums. I just thought I got them pretty cheap, bought a bundle like those spoken CDs I showed earlier. I bought these with those and then some other bands. Bought them as a bundle and I was like, I'll listen to some He Is Legend. I looked them up on YouTube, clicked on one song, and I was like, holy shit. As far as I knew, I just thought they were alternative southern rock kind of sound. But then, I clicked the early one just to hear what they sounded like, and I was blown away. Definitely not what I expected.
Yeah, I know they've done some. I think they did some tours with Hell Yeah back in the day, because that's how I heard about them.
Huh, interesting.
Because I could be wrong, but aren't they from Texas?
Don't get me lying. They might be. I don't know.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, because I remember Vinnie Paul had something to maybe not maybe he didn't have something to do with them, but I just remember I think they were on some Hell Yeah tours back like way back when Hell Yeah first started out.
Hmm.
So that's what made me think there's a Texas connection there because I know like Vinnie Paul was from Texas and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's just what made me think that there was a connection there.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that. And another band, like speaking of Texas metal, I don't have the CDs out on me. They're in the binders already. I was listening to some War Beast and Rigor Mortis,
Mm.
some old school Texas thrash. Rest in peace, Bruce.
It's fine. Well, we were
Bruce.
just talking about that, I think, last night.
Yeah, rest in peace, Bruce. The singer passed away. He was a good friend. He passed away. It's been probably about 3 years ago now. He died of heart cancer. And, he was definitely one of my biggest influences. And, with my old band, right before, like we were playing shows consistently, I was talking to him if he, got to feeling better. He was going to come in when we did our album, and he was going to come in and do some guest vocals with us. But, the cancer got to him before it could happen, and we never were able to get anything recorded, unfortunately. But I just always have his memories of always, talking to him at the shows, seeing how he's doing, one of the most nicest people you'll ever meet. Just a great person all around. Bruce, I wish I had a shot right now for you, bro. All
Yeah,
right, next.
that's too bad. Yeah, I know. I know. Rigor Mortis is like old school cult underground, like death thrashers sort of thing. So I know that Rigor Mortis is highly respected. And when you sent me War Beast, I had no idea that I had no idea that was the same singer.
Yeah, and the thing about Rigor Mortis, the guitar player Mark Scasia went on to go, join ministry after Rigor Mortis broke up.
Oh wow!
And then the bass player, I forget his name. I should know it. I have him as a friend on Facebook because I met him at a show, and I didn't even know he was in the band. Till I was talking to him at the show. There was a benefit for Bruce, and I bumped into this guy, kind of spilled a little bit of a beer on his back, and he's like, "Dude, what up? What?" I was like, "Fuck, I'm sorry." And he's like, "Dude, you're good. Go up there and support Bruce." And I was like, "Okay." And I started talking to him, got his Facebook, and happened to find out, he was the original bass player for Rigor Mortis, but you will know him as the bass player for Guar.
Oh wow!
I forget, the guy with the big trap mask, the metal looking trap mask, what I'm talking about, in Guar.
Well, they all wear masks, so I don't
No,
know.
I'm talking about the one metal metal jaw or whatever. It's like it looks like a big rat trap and it's metal, it looks like it's silver and has the sharp teeth. The bass player. Yeah, he was like he's the bass player for Guar. I didn't even know that. I was like, shit, I spilled beer on the bass player of Guar, and he was nice about it.
Oh wow! Yeah, shit, that's cool. Yeah, no,
But
Gwar's. I never got into Gwar.
yeah, he was the bass player for originally for Rigor Mortis when they were still going. But it's crazy, they all kind of went on after Rigor Mortis broke up. They all kind of went to bigger things, and Bruce went to War Beast after that, or he went on hiatus for a long time, and then he started War Beast. And if you know War Beast, you knew Phil Asomo pumped them out, recorded them, did the split EP with them with Phil Asomo and the Illegals, and then they had three, solo full length albums.
Yeah,
And we
that's.
were working.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's how I heard about them. Was I knew that they were signed to Phil Anselmo's record label Housecore, and that's how I had heard about the name War Beast.
Yeah,
But then I had no idea that those two bands, that Rigor Mortis and War Beast, were well. There was the singer until you said that. I had no idea.
yeah, yeah. Because like anytime you want to go, anytime War Beast played, almost everybody in the metal scene over here want to go see them because how big of a deal Bruce was to the scene. And then a couple of times too, he got together and did like anniversary shows. They would play Rigor Mortis's sets, so it was cool to see Rigor Mortis's like awesome stuff live. A lot of people besides like Texas locals rarely got to see that.
Hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool for sure. I know there's probably some Rigor Mortis fans watching that probably had no idea that he was in War Beast and things like that. So that actually could be a band that people get into just based off watching this and hearing us talk about that. Is they're like, oh shit, he was in Rigor Mortis. Shit, I didn't know that. So that's probably a band that people might check out. Do you own any War Beast?
Definitely. And if anybody's watching, and got into War Beast because of this video, go take a shot for Bruce right now. Rest in power, my friend. Rest in power.
Do you have any War Beast?
Yeah, I have all their stuff.
Oh,
I am a big fan. Like, I bought, all of War Beast's one night. I was planning to go buy several shirts too, because I was like, right before, the benefit show they did, because his cancer got like he battled it, I believe, for 5 years, and it was stage 4 heart cancer. He fought as long as he could, and I went up to him. I was like, Bruce, hey, I got you something. He's like, what do you got me? The benefit show. I was like, dude, I donated $25 or $30. I bought all the War Beast albums. I bought all the Rigor Mortis albums. And then I was gonna buy me a couple of shirts, but I was kind of running low on money. But then I donated some money to help pay his bills. And then I gave him one of my old band T-shirts and some bracelets and keychains that we got. My old band, we had bracelets and keychains, lanyards, and shirts. So I gave him a care package with all of it on it. And he's
oh,
like, dude, this is cool artwork.
that's really awesome, man. That's cool stories. That's cool stuff. That's yeah, too bad. But
Yeah. And if you knew him, he was obsessed with Batman. So I bought him a Batman shirt too. He didn't have,
that's
and
cool.
brought it to him.
Hey, well, yeah, it's great that he was a musician and you can like live through his memories through his music. So that's the great thing about music is that when these guys died, like the music lives on forever.
Yep, that's true. Kind of like the next band I'm going to talk about too,
Oh, okay.
Tesla.
Tesla, huh?
Yep, I've been listening to this old school classic rock. One of those bands that back, when they were around, Guns N' Roses was big and all that sound. This is one of those bands I personally didn't think they were as big as I think they should have been.
Like I remember hearing the name when I was a little kid. So like to me they were big because like I heard about them when I was a kid and I didn't really know much about uh like I had them in the realm of like Queensryche and things like that back and then.
Yeah. All right, I have two more. Do you want me to go ahead or do you want to do some more?
I have my last three. I must do my last three. I started the show. You can finish off the show. But yeah, no, it's weird. Is I never really thought to check out Tesla. Like when I got older, like when I was a little kid, I heard the name. But when I got older and started buying music myself, I just never thought to actually look into them more. Not until you recently brought them up and you sent me some songs. I'm like, I've actually never really checked them out.
They're actually really good, aren't they?
Yeah, it was decent. Yeah, actually, after you did send me the few songs, I went to go see if I could buy some of the albums cheap, and surprisingly, I couldn't actually really nail them down really cheap. I think I could get one of them at like a decent price, but I was expecting to find them like really cheap, right?
Yeah, like I did. Like I got, I bought almost their full discography. I'm missing one, and I believe it's their third album, and I got them for around like $4 to like one I paid 99 cents for, and the most expensive one I believe was like $6.
Oh, wow, cool. Yeah, actually, I feel like in the future I'd probably buy some Tesla and own some Tesla. They're cool. You know, old school, like 80s hard rock, light heavy metal, like arena rock, arena metal, arena rock, arena hard rock sort of thing.
Yeah, this is their first album, and it came out in 1986. So they were late to the game. You know, by the time they came out with their like second album, grunge was starting to take over. That's why I don't think they got as big as they should have been, because right whenever they were really starting off, grunge started taking over.
That's fair. That's fair to say. But although I still think they were a fairly big name. Yeah, like, I remember hearing about them when I was a little kid. You know, maybe just because I watched, you know, like MTV and Much Music back in the day, like the music video channels. And I think at that point, when I was a kid, maybe some of their songs were still getting played on like the music video channels. So I think maybe that's how I had know about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, I got my last three here, and then I got yeah, an old school 1991, just straight up pure death metal band. We got Sorcery, Blood Chilling Tales, and the only description that someone would need is 1991 death metal. You know exactly what you're getting yourself into when you say early 90s death metal. Like, you know, there's obviously it's yeah, 90s death metal. There's a touch of groove, but it's all just like death metal.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's, you know, and death metal just became huge in the early 90s. I think that was the go-to thing because people were into thrash and death metal, like, you know, thrash metal in the 80s, and then grunge came. It's funny you mentioned grunge, and then grunge came around and kind of killed the whole thrash scene. And then I think the next step for people that were like really into aggressive music, they probably gravitated toward death metal. So the 90s death metal scene blew up, you know, Cannibal Corpse, Obituary, Deicide. There was tons of obscure ones. I got a ton of obscure bands, right? There's Massacre, Sorcery. There's just tons. There's just Death, right? Yeah, there's just a slew of death metal bands. So yeah, you know what you get yourself into with that. And well, my cat just kind of took a poop. I could smell it. It's gross. Anyway, gross. Anyway, we got,
Metal.
we got. I couldn't even help. I was gonna try not to say anything, but I can't even. I can't fake it. But anyway, we got the fucking. I did really dig my Ramones. I own pretty well most of the Ramones albums except for the later '90s ones. So I own all the '70s and '80s Ramones, even some of the harder ones to get. But I got Subterranean Jungle, like Ramones purists, like the old school Ramones fans probably disliked this album. They hated this album, but I'm not an old school Ramones fan, so I don't have like nostalgia to Ramones like some like old school '80s guys would. So they dislike this album. I think it's cool. You know, I think there's some like obviously Ramones always did have a pop element, but I think at this point new wave was big and like new wave and some industrial type sounds were coming out. So I think they experimented with some of that stuff, and I think it gave this album a bad name in the general Subterranean Jungle, but I dig it. And again, I'm not just going to play the same Ramon albums over and over. I own whatever 10, 12 Ramones albums, so I'm going to rotate them all fairly evenly. So it was time for me to put this in the rotation. Dig my
I didn't
Ramones.
know you got that many albums. I learned something new.
What, Ramones?
Yeah. Didn't the singer die after like the first couple? Like the
No,
originals?
no. The singer didn't even die until like the late '90s, I don't believe, because they put out their last album in like '96, and then I think I don't even think he died until like the 2000s or something. But he was in like really poor health. They couldn't do any albums, but it's something. And again, the last few Ramones albums aren't that great. I forget the name of them off the top of my head. They're not that great. Mondo Bizarro was great, 1991, and then they put out 2 albums after that I don't think are that great. Sure, for the Ramones collection, at some point I'd probably need them just to complete the collection, but it's nothing that I'm gonna rush to buy because I don't think they're that great. So I'm not just gonna like force myself to buy something I don't think that good or something. But I like all their 70s and 80s Ramones anyway, and then Mondo Bizarro is good. I don't have that, but I want to get that one. And last up is I played this one I think just yesterday, I think a couple days ago. But we got another consistent longtime band, Creator, Phantom Antichrist. I think this is 2012. Yeah, it is 2012, and this is one of well, a lot of the newer creators coming out of the 2000s were all great. Enemy of God, Phantom Antichrist, Violent Revolution, like all those creators are just awesome. So this is one of
That's
them.
their latest one, ain't it?
No, they have no. This is 2012, so they have some ones after. There's Gods of Violence and Enemy of God. I think Enemy of God's one of the newer ones. But yeah, I have all those creators. But yeah, it's just time for me to throw this one in the rotation, and I'm not going to go through the songs, but I think some cool songs back to back here is From Flood into Fire and Civilization Collapse. I love Civilization Collapse. I got in, as you guys can see, I got into some art at some point in my life, and I did some art, and I did a Creator Civilization Collapse art that kind of just, well, I usually draw whatever I drew. I don't have like an intention to tie it to a band, but then once I do draw something, I tie it to a band after. But whatever I drew I drew like this guy overlooking like lava coming down the mountains, and I was just looking how I could tie it to a band, and when I came across Civilization Class, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, cool. So then I put Creator up on there and put Civilization Class. But anyway, I should probably go get the art to show what you guys are talking about. But that's kind of yeah, cool Creator repping fast modern thrash stuff.
All right. Yeah, I'd like to see your art at some point. All right,
Right. I was gonna say, I got some in my living room here. I got a really cool David Bowie one here that would probably show well on the camera.
yeah, we'll have to do that at some point.
I got a Kill Switch Engage.
You got a Kill Switch Engage?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Kill Switch Engage, but I ended up drawing this gorilla, and I'm like, fuck, what the hell am I gonna do with a gorilla? And I tied it to. It was actually kind of funny. Is I tied it to This Is Confrontation, because the gorilla is going ah. So I was like, fuck, how could I tie this into music? And I was just like, this is confrontation. So I tied it into Kill Switch Engage. This is confrontation.
Because I was gonna say gorilla. The first thing I would have thought of, my personal opinion, would have been Black Dahlia Murder, Statutory Ape.
Ah, okay, cool. I'm not super familiar with a lot of Black Dahlia Murder stuff, so that's probably why I didn't think of it.
Yeah, because like it's funny. I always thought the song was called Statutory Rape when I was younger, and then when I got the album years later, it's Statutory Ape. And if you look at the music video, they have a guy in a giant gorilla costume chasing people on that album for the music video. All right, my last two. This band is called Mercenary. They're kind of melodic death metal with like power metal kind of. He has like quite a unique vocal style. Like some albums, he sounds really heavy. Some albums, there's like they have like I think 2 vocalists or 3, and like one vocalist is like doing the screams and growls. One guy's doing like the power metal, super heavy, high stuff. They're definitely different. They're out there. And like I've talked about, I'm a cheapskate when it comes to buying music a lot of the times. I bought nearly their full discography, everything besides their first album, and I paid like $7. So it's like $1 a CD. You know, the bargains like that very often. And last but not least is a band called Cold Worker. I mean, I've probably talked about them before. Just brutal, brutal death metal. The drummer from Nasum is in them.
Oh yeah, that's that Nasum. Oh yeah, Nasum.
Yeah, they're really good. I
Nasum
think they're
was
really,
like Swedish or Nordic or something.
yeah, this is another one of their albums. I have all three of them. They only had three albums, but they're all great. You know, they're pretty brutal. You know, you can kind of see, you know, just this album artwork, you know, don't look like much up front. You don't see that much. And then I was like, okay, it's decent artwork. But whenever you get the album open, you can really see, wow, that's awesome artwork. Definitely one of the best album covers I've seen in a long time. When you look at all the little details when you go through the lyric book, it's kind of like 3D, and you only see so much of it on each page, and then you put it all. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that's my collection. What I've been listening to lately. Um, Definitely been kind of a weird mix: melodic death metal, metalcore, alternative, new metal. You know, but that's the way it always is with me. You never know what I'm going to listen to next. Next
I'm
minute, I could be.
I'm surprised you didn't have much, very much like deathcore, tech death stuff.
I've been, you know, I've listened to that so much lately, but you know, but I haven't really. Next deathcore album I'm planning to get eventually, if I can get the money together, is the newest Whitechapel. I want to get that so bad, but I wouldn't even really call them straight up deathcore anymore. Another thing I've been listening to lately is a metalcore band called Beartooth. That's really good. That's heavily influenced by hardcore.
Yeah, I got some Whitechapels. I dig Whitechapel for sure. You know, it's not something I'm going to listen to every day. I'd get sick of that, you know, deathcore if I just listen to deathcore. But, you know, once in a while, I definitely will throw some deathcore into the rotation. Carnifex, Whitechapel, Black Dahlia Murder, Thy Art is Murder, things like that.
Have you listened to Whitechapel's The Valley?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know, that's kind of like deathcore meets catatonia.
I didn't think there was too much like stuff like the new album is, where it's just I don't know, the new I couldn't get into the new album, that Kin album. I listened to it, and maybe not like the full thing, but I tried listening to a bunch of songs, and it's just so weird because it'll be like extreme, you know, extreme metal, and then all of a sudden it'll just shift into like this really slow part, and like it doesn't, for me it didn't shift correctly. Like all of a sudden it'll just be like extreme, and then literally a second later it'll just go from extreme to like completely soft and slow, and I'm like, there wasn't like a like it didn't shift into that. It just like cut from like, it just like cut, like I don't know, it didn't shift well with me or something, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I still need to get it and listen to it, the full thing.
oh, you haven't heard the full thing? Yeah, I don't know, I just thought like I can get into when things go from metal to soft voice. Obviously, a lot of metalcore does that, where you know it's full on, like, you know, Killswitch Engage is pretty well like a good example of that, when it could be full on extreme, but then the chorus is soft and melodic. But I don't know, it just seemed like it didn't blend it well. It's literally like, it's like almost like a computer where they were like going extreme metal, and then they took a section off, and then it's just like, so I don't even know how to explain it, but it didn't really gel that great with me. I could probably grab my Whitechapels. I don't want to fall over. Oh, yeah, I got I thought This Is Exile. That's probably an old school, super heavy. This one's almost a little too, like, I would say almost a little too heavy for me. There's not enough melodicness choruses, but this one really does it for me. The Mark of the Blade. That one's awesome. Where they almost like throw in some Pantera grooves in some of them. It's deathcore, but they throw in some like Pantera type groovy stuff. So that one's really cool for me.
I really like the self-titled too a lot.
Whitechapel. Yeah.
But you got any more to show, or is it a
No,
wrap?
yeah, I'm done. Yeah, no. I was gonna say I think the biggest trend for me that I noticed is I was listening to a lot of old school thrash bands, but their newer albums, like not just their typical '80s ones that everyone will revert to. So I had like Sodom, but it was a newer Sodom. I had a Darkness, but it was a newer Darkness. I had Creator, but it was a newer Creator. I had a Destruction, but it was a newer Destruction. So I found it was a trend that I was listening to a lot of like old school thrash bands, but their newer albums. Again, I'm not one of those guys. I try to rotate all my stuff. I'm not just going to listen to the same 4 Overkill albums, the same 4 Destruction albums, the same 4 Slaughter albums. Like, I try to actually rotate them all fairly evenly. Yeah, Overkill, I'm not just going to listen to the same 4 Overkill albums over and over and be sick of them. So I like to rotate all my stuff, and yeah, that's just probably that's just a sign of that, rotating all my stuff.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I had some rock bands that I haven't listened to for a while. I've jammed Queens of the Stone Age for a while, and then Monster Truck, and what was the vinyl that I had there? The Santana, yeah, cool stuff. El Nino, I haven't played that El Nino for a while. Actually, I listened to another one, Confession, I think recently. I didn't pull that one for the list. I listened to like Testament, but a newer Testament, Titans of Creation, and I jammed some Amon Amarth for the Amon Amarth show, so I didn't even bother showing that.
Yeah, that's true. Me too. That Testament, I listened to that a couple weeks ago. That newest Testament.
Yeah, it's funny. I came across a video of something. Someone said that like all newer Testament sounds the same to them, and for me, I thought it was very strange because I'm like, actually, when you do listen to the newer Testaments, a lot of the songs are so varied that how would someone think they sound the same?
I mean, yeah, I mean that is weird, like. But if you listen to early Testament, they sounded a lot like Metallica, or like early Testament.
Some of it, yeah, I guess some of it had that vibe, I guess. Although the vocal style is so different that I never tied those two together. Because Chuck Billy just has like just this hulking, really standout voice that I never really connect those two together. But
I mean, yeah, he kind of, he started really diving more into like his own voice. I think the album right before Low, he really kind of like, dialed down and actually found his own voice. Like Souls of Black, I think he sounds like James Hetfield. But that's a discussion for another day. We'll definitely have to do a Testament video one day.
oh yeah, no, I love my Testament. Yeah, I definitely would want to plan to do a Testament show at some point. I'm not really sure the specifics. Maybe it would just be top 3, top 5 sort of thing. But yeah, I'm, obviously there's, I would be able to find guests for that. I'm quite positive. So yeah, I definitely want to do a Testament show at some point.
And let me know about that because Testament personally is my favorite thrash band. Like personally, my personal favorite thrash band. Hence to why one of the few things I actually still have from my old house and where I'm at right now is my Testament autographs.
Oh, cool. That's obviously from a show, or
Yeah. Me and my friend Connor, we went to go see Testament live, and we saw him with Sepultura, and Testament was the headliner, and he got the VIP, got to meet the band, got the shirt and like guitar picks. And he's like, I know how big of a Chuck Billy fan you are because I'm a Chuck Billy huge fan. He's definitely an influence, on me. And he was like, "You can have this. I don't want it." I was like, "Ah!" I kind of nerded out pretty good whenever he handed me that.
I think one of the things I really love about Chuck Billy is that when you hear him live, just how unique he actually and such a powerhouse he really is. He is a powerhouse of a vocalist, and you may not people may not realize it because he's singing over the thrash metal, and you're listening to the music and all just blends really nicely. But if you were to take away the music and it's just him, say if you were to get a vocal track, sometimes if you hear just a vocal track, with just the singing with no music, it would be apparent how much of a powerhouse that guy is. Just power. And I don't mean power metal, but a powerhouse, coming through his chest and just power.
And one thing I wish he would have done more, he don't do it very often. I wish he would. I enjoy his clean vocals a lot.
Well, he does a lot of it.
Whenever they sing the softer stuff.
Yeah. Actually, well, I was just on my TV late at night winding down, and he did a recent episode on the Jamie Jasta podcast, or Jamie Jasta video cast or podcast, or however you watch these things. But I watch it. He releases them on video, so you can watch it on video. And they were talking about a cover song, a Christmas cover song or something that he did, and he did it all clean singing.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
I haven't watched the video, but I've heard the song him doing it.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about then. Or sort
I've heard the song, but I don't know what were they saying about his singing.
Yeah, I can't vaguely remember what song they were talking about specifically, and Jamie was just like, "Oh man, you have such a great voice. You should do that more. What made you do that?" And he's just like, "I don't know. They just asked me to do it, and I said, sure, I'll try it." But Jamie was encouraging him to, that it was really good and you should do it again and things like that. So
maybe in the future, maybe we'll see that. But that's one person I would like to see more range out of him too, is Jamie Jasta. He has that. On some of the later albums, he's kind of shown a little more diverse, but he really don't have that much besides that one raw just scream.
Yeah, I watched some live clips of Hatebreed in the recent years, and it seems like he is kind of losing his he's kind of losing his his authentic voice a little bit, but that just comes with age, right? He's kind of, I wouldn't say he's losing his voice, but he's kind of losing that early sound that he had, on the albums. Yeah. On the albums, he can pull it off, but live, he is kind of. But I think that just comes along with, well, you would probably know more than me. I'm just talking out of my ass, but you could imagine when a band has to go on tour and he's screaming every night, every couple nights, that for sure you're going to lose your voice and things like this. So I think that's just a matter of, that's all it comes down to.
That's true.
He's just fucking screaming so much that for sure there's going to be some nights where he does lose his voice and things like that. So, or it's not as deep as you would think. It's not as deep as on the album and things like that, right?
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is, we talked about what albums we've been jamming. Now we're talking about, now we're having a metal discussion. Welcome to that, people. You're getting a little extra.
Oh, metal discussion. Yeah, well, it's funny, after that last show, we all stuck around after the Amon Amarth show, we all stuck around. Well, most of us stuck around, I think, for an hour and a half sort of thing. We did a whole fucking did a whole after show after the show.
Yeah, and speaking of Hatebreed, if I can find it, if I have it, unless it's, yeah, here it is. Talking about Hatebreed. If you know me, I like myself some flannels. I love my flannels. A year ago I got into some flannels called Dixon flannels. If I can get it off the hanger without, I'm gonna have to break something. Oh, no, I'm not. No, there we go. My friend kind of got me into them. He got me one called the Chainsaw. It's a flannel based off of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But they collaborate with some bands too, and they've done two so far with Hatebreed. This is the one I have so far. Shit. Sorry, people. For the manufacturing. You can see the collaboration. Crap. What? You can kind of see, the Hatebreed tag, album cover on the tag.
No, we're not. I can't see it. It's just off a bit. It's just off or whatever. It's just off. You have to move it one way. Oh, there. Oh, now I can see it. So yeah, there we go. Oh, cool. Is that the only place it says Hatebreed?
No, it says Hatebreed right there on the pocket too. Wait, can you?
Sort of. Has their logo on it?
It is hard to see on this thing. Can you see it or not?
No, you'd have to go down, just down more. It doesn't. It does say Hatebreed on the button though. Oh, anyway.
Yeah, it says the word Hatebreed on the buttons.
Oh wow, it must be.
But on the pocket, it has Hatebreed stitched on it.
Cool. Yeah. It must. Oh, there we go. I can see it now. Yeah, you got it in there now.
Yeah, and then they did the one for their first EP. It's black, red, and yellow. I definitely want to get that one too, but these Dixon flannels, they sell out real quick. Like they did a collaboration with the Misfits, and it sold out in record time. It sold out in like 22 minutes.
I believe that anything with misfits is people are freaks. People are misfit freaks.
I know, because yeah, like that. And then they did some collaborations with Suicidal Tendencies. Was the first band they collaborated with. Then they did one with the singer side band, Infectious Groove. But yeah, they have like 4 of them with Suicidal Tendencies. But they have like all kinds of stuff. But the ones I'm collecting I want to collect are music related or horror movie related. I have several that are like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers.
All of that
That's
Dixon
the kind of
brand, all of that flannel brand.
Yeah, Dixon flannels.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, no, I've been listening to the Justa podcast ever since he started, and well, I haven't really listened to a bunch of them in the last couple of years, like not like I used to. I used to listen to them on my phone. Now I just watch it on YouTube when I see them, but I can't remember if I sort of vaguely remember hearing him talk about him occasionally, but I'm not a super big merch guy like that, so I probably would have just flew over my head.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're a horror movie fan, can you tell what this flannel's from? It's one of the most iconic movies of all time.
No, I don't think so.
The Shining.
Oh,
Jack
oh wow.
Yeah, that's the flannel that he wore in the movie, and they replicated it. They replicated it and made it look like it.
Oh, cool. It's been a long time since I watched that. I know I had a friend there. He recently watched it, and he was just going on and on about like, oh, I think I know the deep meaning behind what was really going on there. And he was just like going so philosophical, like trying to go so deep into what the director was thinking, what Jack was really what he was really thinking. And I'm like, fuck, it's been so long since I watched that movie. I can't even keep up with what you're discussing.
Yeah, then they have some other stuff. I have a couple of them too. They call party shirts. They're kind of a thinner material, and they kind of they kind of look like tattoo flash art all over them. So I got a couple of those. I mean, I like them a lot. Um, they're just expensive, and if once they sell out, you have to kind of buy them secondhand. And I don't feel like spending $200 to $300 on a flannel.
Oh wow.
Because like that Hatebreed one, I got it secondhand. It sold out within like 3 or 4 days, and most people were selling them for around 150 to 200 a piece. A guy was lucky enough because he saw me, was like, "Man, I really wanted to get one of these. I'm a metal fan and I'm a metalhead. I really wanted to get one of these. What's the best somebody could give me an offer?" And the guy was like, "Dude, I'll send to you one for $70." I was like, "Sold. All right, mine." They're $60 when they first come out.
I guess
So
people are just collecting them, or do you think they're
yeah,
wearing?
yeah, people buy them, collect them, wear them, and there's a big cult following on them. They are. So you're about to go on a journey with me, people. I'm about to take my dog outside. She's wanting to get to the bathroom, so
Okay,
I'm
well,
going to.
let's end the show. Then I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't. We don't need to see that shit.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's get your dog outside to go pee and stuff like that, and maybe I'll go pee so nobody needs to see or hear about this. Okay, we'll end the show. Thanks for watching. Maybe discover some new stuff, or maybe you're just bored and just fucking checking stuff out. I know sometimes at night I like to sit down and watch something long. Sometimes you watch these 15-minute clips, and that's not entertaining. Like, it's not really super entertaining to watch like a 10-15 minute clip. So when I sit down at night and I want to watch something, I want to watch something long. So like a discussion or something. That's why I do these group discussions. But maybe some people are just bored watching this. Maybe the same mindset as me. It's like, I don't want to watch a 10-minute clip. There's nothing entertaining about that. But an hour and a half, 2 hour show is more entertaining, or at least something you can actually watch, as opposed to, hey, this is ending in 10 minutes sort of thing. So that's cool stuff. But anyway, we'll let you go. We'll get out of here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for doing the show. And subscribe, Mosh. See you later. All that kind of good stuff. And
And let us know below. Comment below and tell us what you've been listening to. Give us some suggestions.
Yeah, there was a few guys who commented last show that the way they were listening to. I don't know if you did see a comment, but when you were talking about your that one man death metal guy that wants you to do the vocals, do you remember that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, the guy that was wanting me to come in and do a black metal band with him. Yeah, Nick.
Anyway, you probably didn't ever see the comment, but he commented on one of the videos that you were on, and like he basically like gave you props and said like things like that. I'll send you the message, but he commented on one of the shows and said that, you're a great vocalist and thanks for the shout out, and he'd love to have you do the vocals. And I commented, I was like, yeah, that'd be great if you guys could hook up and not hook up, but hook up and get together and sort of thing like that. But you never saw the comment, but he actually did comment on one of these videos.
That's kind of cool. I know he tells me he watches them. So, hell yeah. Thank you for the comment, Nick. Thank you for watching these. Thank you for the support.
And on that note, we'll get out of here. Thanks a lot. Subscribe, Mosh. See you later.